In a world long accustomed to the steadfastness of royal tradition, the shocking resignation of King Charles III has upended expectations and ignited global conversations. After decades spent preparing for the throne, Charles's abrupt departure stunned not only the British public, but the entire world. His decision signals the end of one chapter and the uncertain beginning of another in the storied saga of the British monarchy. When Charles ascended to the throne on September 8, 2022, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, he inherited a kingdom shaped by nearly a century of his mother's unwavering rule. At 73, Charles made history twice, first as the longest-serving heir apparent, and second as the oldest monarch to assume the British throne. His reign began with tributes, solemn ceremonies, and the hope that he would honor his mother's legacy while steering the monarchy into a modern era. He quickly conferred the title of Prince of Wales upon his eldest son William and was officially proclaimed king in a historic televised ceremony on September 10th. His coronation, held on May 6, 2023, under the code name Operation Golden Orb, aimed to be more inclusive and less extravagant than previous coronations, reflecting his desire to adapt the monarchy to a changing Britain. Charles embraced diversity by involving people of various faiths and communities while retaining the traditional Anglican ceremony. However, from the beginning, there were subtle hints that Charles's reign might not follow the expected path. The challenges of leading in a post-Elizabeth era were immense, and the expectations, perhaps too great for even a seasoned royal. Charles's entire life has been lived under the magnifying glass of public scrutiny. As the heir apparent, he was trained for kingship since birth, enduring immense pressure to perform and behave according to rigid royal standards. Living in the shadow of Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch widely revered across the globe, only amplified the difficulty of forging his identity as king. This persistent comparison became a defining aspect of Charles's life. While he tried to find his voice through environmental advocacy, charity work, and personal causes, he was often overshadowed by his mother's towering legacy or eclipsed by the immense popularity of his first wife, Princess Diana. His marriage to Diana was as public as it was painful, and their eventual divorce, followed by her tragic death in 1997, deeply affected his public image. For years, Charles was the subject of tabloid scorn, accused of emotional aloofness and romantic betrayals. His relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Consort, further divided public opinion. Despite these challenges, Charles worked diligently to rehabilitate his image. He focused on his charities, publicly supported causes like climate change and interfaith dialogue, and prepared for his role as king. But the emotional toll of decades spent balancing duty with personal turmoil was undeniable. In the short time Charles reigned, his health became a growing concern. Following a procedure for benign prostate enlargement in early 2024, a cancer diagnosis emerged. Although the cancer was not prostate-related, it required him to delay or cancel public appearances. Queen Camilla took over many of his responsibilities during his recovery. Charles made a public return by Easter 2024, demonstrating resilience and commitment. But behind the public facade, his grueling schedule and health concerns told a more complicated story. Known for skipping lunch, working late into the night, and managing a packed agenda, Charles's routine was a recipe for exhaustion. His choice to adopt a strict and selective diet reflected both his principles and the pressure of maintaining an ideal royal image. But those close to the monarch feared that the strain of responsibility was beginning to erode his health and well-being. For Charles, the crown was never merely symbolic. It was a physical and emotional burden. The responsibilities of being king, combined with intense media scrutiny, personal regrets, and health challenges, likely contributed to his ultimate decision to step down. When King Charles appeared before the cameras to announce his resignation, it was one of the most stunning moments in modern royal history. Never before had a reigning British monarch voluntarily abdicated the throne. The announcement sent shockwaves through the nation and the world, and reactions were deeply divided. To many, it was a betrayal of duty. Critics questioned how a king, groomed for leadership his entire life, could abandon the role after such a short reign. Monarchists feared that the decision could erode public trust in the monarchy and destabilize an institution already under scrutiny. To others, however, the decision represented courage. Charles was seen as a man putting the monarchy's long-term viability above personal ambition. By stepping aside, he allowed a new generation of leadership, one more aligned with today's values, to take the reins. Supporters called it a modern move for a modern age, signaling that even the monarchy is capable of evolution. Despite criticisms, Charles leaves behind a rich philanthropic legacy. From the founding of the Prince's Trust in 1976 to spearheading climate initiatives and supporting youth and the arts, his impact extends beyond royal titles. The Prince's charities raised over £100 million annually and supported countless initiatives around the globe. He was also a passionate advocate for human rights, notably criticizing Romanian dictator Nicolae Ceausescu in the 1990s. His commitment to orphans and the disadvantaged, especially in Eastern Europe, reflected a humanitarian side often overshadowed by tabloid drama. Yet even his charitable work came under fire. Reports surfaced about questionable donations from foreign leaders and controversial figures. Though no wrongdoing was confirmed, the optics raised questions about judgment and oversight. Still, these controversies did little to erase the good his foundations accomplished. Charles will be remembered as a monarch who cared deeply about people and the planet, though he may have struggled to fit within the rigid constraints of royal tradition. One of the most difficult aspects of Charles's life was the relentless media attention. From the moment he was born, his every move was documented. His relationships, opinions, and even private correspondence became front-page news. The press exposed scandals, leaked private journals, and hacked his phone. His marriage to Diana, and later his relationship with Camilla, became media fodder. The public's adoration for Diana often translated into disdain for Charles, a tension that followed him well into his kingship. Despite his attempts to maintain a measured relationship with the press, Charles never fully escaped the grip of media sensationalism. These invasions of privacy shaped his guarded demeanor and likely influenced his decision to prioritize health and retreat from the spotlight. Public reaction to Charles's resignation was mixed. Some saw it as an abdication of responsibility, while others viewed it as an overdue act of self-care and institutional renewal. Critics worried about what this would mean for the monarchy's continuity. Would this embolden calls for abolition? Would public trust diminish? Conversely, many younger citizens, especially those skeptical of monarchy, appreciated the move. It represented humility, a human acknowledgement of limitation in an age that demands transparency and wellness. The broader global community also weighed in. Some royal families and constitutional monarchies saw the resignation as troubling, while others viewed it as an opportunity for reinvention. With Charles stepping aside, Prince William suddenly found himself at the helm of the monarchy. Although long groomed for the role, the timing was unexpected. Now, as the face of the crown, William must balance tradition with reform, decorum with relatability. William has long championed issues like mental health, sustainability, and community outreach. These passions resonate with modern citizens and offer a roadmap for Monarchy 2.0. But inheriting the throne in such circumstances brings challenges: managing a fractured royal family, reconnecting with a skeptical public, and navigating a politically complex UK. Many hope that William, with his calm demeanor and forward-thinking mindset, will usher in a golden age, but much will depend on his ability to maintain unity, embrace change, and rise above the relentless scrutiny that comes with the crown. King Charles's resignation is more than a footnote in royal history. It's a turning point. It reflects the fragility of legacy in a world demanding relevance, humanity, and evolution. The monarchy, once seen as immovable, has shown it can bend, and perhaps, in bending, it may not break. The question now is not just whether Prince William can fill the void, but whether the monarchy itself can transform fast enough to meet the expectations of a new era. Tradition has always been its foundation, but adaptability may be its only path forward. Conclusion: the end of one reign, the start of another. King Charles III's reign was brief, but his impact is profound. He brought with him a modern ethos, struggled against the ghosts of the past, and ultimately made a choice few monarchs have dared to make. Whether his resignation will be viewed as a moment of weakness or wisdom remains to be seen. For now, all eyes turn to King William and the generation that follows. What happens next will determine whether this historic institution thrives in the 21st century or becomes a relic of the past. Would you like this summary adapted into a script for a documentary, podcast, or YouTube video? I can format it accordingly.